Good morning, everybody, and welcome to week 14. We are so close. First week of May should have some nice weather, some rainy weather, some good weather to write. You guessed it, your rough draft. Let's talk a little bit about the comings and goings of this week. First and foremost, you are in your second week of the 3-week unit, and that's really important because the next couple weeks, as I have mentioned before, are going to go super fast. As you can look at our module here, ooh, look at that. How short and sweet, right? Again, there's no new instruction here. What we're doing is pulling together all of what you've learned this semester and using it in this final piece of writing. Your goal for this week, your primary goal for this week is to write a rough draft. I'm not requiring one, but I would encourage you to write one. Again, as I mentioned before, this assignment cannot be extended. So it's not due this week, but it is due at the end of next week. And you don't want to be writing this final assignment the night before it's due or a couple of hours before it's due. It can't be revised. It cannot be extended. And you really want this piece of writing to be a good demonstration of what you've learned, of how you've maybe grown as a writer, of how you've developed your voice, or even of how you have kind of flexed your writing muscles over the course of this semester. So you don't want to rush it. The whole idea of getting a rough draft in sooner rather than later is that it allows you not just to avoid procrastination. I mean, it does, obviously, but it also allows you the space to get objective with your writing. And that's really important. I think one of the main problems of saving your writing to do until the very end is that you're trying to kind of to get it together, you're trying to meet all the requirements, and you're trying to do so in a really fast, usually frame of time. And when you're doing that, you're kind of not able to tap into your learning, but chances are you're coming to really hate what you're writing because of all of those other external forces that are now pressing in on you. And so you can't get objective with your writing because you're bringing too much emotional baggage to it, right? You're just like, oh, I just need to get this done. What is it that she wants? You're trying to do all of the things at once and you're not able to take a step back and say, oh, let me actually think about what I've written. So if you're able to write a rough draft and you're able to give yourself a day, like an actual 24 hours, without looking at it, without thinking about it, and then you come to it after that with fresh eyes and you read through it, you can see a lot more clearly what you're doing, where your own errors are, where your patterns are, where you need to expand, where you need to remove. You just have a lot more ability to look objectively at your writing. And so the goal this week really should be for yourself to get that rough draft in. Get it. If you want to pretend like I have a deadline and you're like, oh, I need to get it to Miller, then great. Do that. Send me a rough draft if you want to. If you feel like you kind of need that incentive for getting one done. Your other assignment this week is to post, well, a couple of other things. You post to a discussion board. And the whole idea of the discussion board is, again, just to kind of share what we're all writing about. So your discussion post can simply be, school is for blank, and you fill in the blank, and that's it. You can post, walk away, hoot, right? If you want to expand on that, you can. But you don't have to. You don't have to respond to anybody else. You don't have to reply to people. You can like people's titles if you want to. It's just a way for us to kind of get a sense of what is everybody else writing about and what do they have to say about this prompt, right? The second thing you have due this week is your writing territory number 11. This writing territory mentor skill I really like. It's something that if we were in class, there's a whole lesson that I have around it where you kind of take your paragraph and you start your sentences one on each line so you can literally see how you're starting sentences. Excuse me, but the goal here is kind of, again, learning about your own patterns of writing and trying to figure out how you can disrupt that pattern, right? And so your goal is to not have any two consecutive sentences start the same way with the same for kind of first three words, right? As I mentioned in the assignment there, we have a tendency of writers to fall into patterns. And this is especially true if you are kind of in that, I have an assignment due in 10 minutes, I just need to knock this out thing, right? We fall into patterns because it's the easiest way that our brain can get the writing done. But part of what the goal of this class is to kind of try and help you obviously build space for your writing, but also to try and get you familiar with what your own patterns are. Everyone's got their own patterns, right? And so the goal of this writing territory is really to get you to think about, what are your patterns? How do you tend to start sentences? For some of you, I've given you feedback of, take a look at your paragraph. You have 5 sentences starting with the word this. As a reader, that's confusing for me. Okay, that's something that's helpful for you to know, not just for this class, but anytime you write, in any kind of opportunity that you have to write something. So again, the goal, help you with your writing, help you begin to see your own patterns. You do have one more writing territory after this, writing territory number 12, and then that's it. You're going to be done with your writing territories. So again, we're coming to the end of the semester. Some of you are still missing some of your end of unit work, and I need to just remind you that the end of unit writings and the reflections are required. And so if you do not get those submitted, then you are guaranteed a D or lower in the class. So all of you for whom this is true, I have been emailing you and leaving notes in Canvas. I don't know if you'd be watching this video or not, but hopefully you are. But you need to get that in if you haven't already, or otherwise you're kind of giving yourself a grade that you probably don't want in the course. All right, so I have office hours this week. Again, if you want to have a one-on-one, schedule a conference. Otherwise, let me know if there's anything that I can do to help support you. We've only got a couple of weeks left. Make them good.